So welcome everybody, and today we're going to be talking about skin nourishing travel tips. So how do we look after our mature skin as we're traveling, maybe overseas, maybe flying, maybe driving, and going into different climates. So today we're going to be talking all about that.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So from Ayurvedic perspective, it's all about Vata because Vata dosha is the one getting aggravated with lack of routine, with traveling. And again, the qualities of Vata are dry, rough, mobile, cold. And with a flight, they all get out of balance. So the main tips that we're going to be discussing today are all related to balancing that Vata dosha. Getting it back into balance will actually help to both improve your skin health and your overall health.
Yeah, and it's interesting you said it because most people think, well, what has that got to do with my skin? But if you've been listening to our channel, then you'll understand that actually beauty is an inside job. So depending on the balance of your body internally will actually reflect on how healthy and vibrant your skin is. And as we get later on in life, when we have our mature skin, actually we're also entering the Vata stage of life, which means that the tiniest thing can throw you off schedule. And so it's super important to try and create some routines, even when you're traveling. So one of our first tips is all about routine, because Vata absolutely loves being in a routine. It like Maria just explained, its qualities are fast and mobile. So the more steady we can be, the more regular we can be, then the happier the Vata dosha is. And so really when it comes to a regular routine, it's sometimes quite tricky when we're on holiday because you're obviously going to a different destination. There'll be different like meal times. You may have had to travel quite a long way, so your sleep patterns may be disturbed, different time zones. So we're recommending that as soon as you get the opportunity, that you try and create a regular routine within your holiday period. So that might well be getting up later than normal, but you know what we're suggesting is that you possibly get up at roughly the same time every day, try and plan your meals for the same time every day, and try to go to bed roughly the same time every day. And although that might sound a little bit strange, it does have a huge impact on how your body um, receives the food that it's going to be eating, how your nervous system responds, and actually at the end of the day, how well your skin adapts to the new circumstances, the new climate, etc.
Yeah, I
Do you have
think it's
anything to add to that, Maria?
I think it's brilliant, and I think it's just being aware of that. It's not pushing yourself into stress mode about, oh my goodness, now I need to create a routine and I'm in a new place and I don't know where the shop is, and and my kids are not behaving the right way. It's not about that. It's just being aware that Vata does need some kind of routine, a little bit of schedule in, and you can go. It doesn't have to be like perfect, but actually resting and enjoying your time and not stressing about things also helps. But with time, give yourself a little bit of time, a day or two, and then try to be regular with at least with food and waking up and going to bed times. Then
Yeah,
that creates already a structure, and then the rest you can do whatever you want to.
yeah, because I think what it's almost like listening to your body, isn't it? Because you'll start to so some signs that might give you an indication that Vata is out of balance would be something like a restlessness. So you're feeling like restless. You want to rest, but you can't. You're feeling like a little bit ungrounded. That's a sign that Vata needs a bit of attention and that you need to create a routine in order to settle. Your digestion might be off. It might be that you're not really very hungry, or when you eat, you feel like a bit bloated. It could be that you can't even sleep. You know, you're feeling like you can't actually get to sleep. It could also be that you've got some stiffness in your joints from traveling as well. And I think what kind of leads nicely onto the second point was that as we're entering, like we say, Vata is very sensitive and we don't often think about it. So if you've never heard of it before, you're thinking, what on earth are you talking about? This seems like overwhelming. Don't be overwhelmed. But as we move into different climates, of course, that also affects us because, like we said before, the qualities of Vata, they're cold, they're dry, they're rough, they're light, they're mobile. And so as you're, say, traveling by air, you're in the airplane, you're traveling by air, that's obviously going to aggravate it. You might be going to like a super hot climate or like a windy close coastline, or possibly a mountainous region where that's maybe different to what your body's used to. So that environment is going to affect you as well. And you might notice that the symptoms start to come on, especially if you're going to those kind of places.
Also, it's
Um,
ungroundedness, I think, because you are, as you fly, you lose that connection with ground. And Vata does get aggravated with anything ungrounded and anything out of your usual one. So it's really important. And then racing thoughts as well is one of the things, as you said, that, like all the qualities that aggravate it as well, then the racing thoughts are there. But yeah, definitely the dry, cold, and windy climates
Yeah,
during
and
the
just talking on
days.
that, just about like the anxiety. So that would be like an emotion connected with Vata dosha. And I don't know about you, Maria, but I've certainly noticed when I was in my 20s traveling, it was no problem. I'd be so relaxed. I just arrive just in time, pack last minute. And since I've got into the more Vata stage of life, as I've got older and I'm now in my 50s, I actually find traveling quite stressful. I mean, obviously, there's stress when you've got your kids with you, as you're, if you're a mother and you've traveled with children, you know that can be stressful. But it's a different kind of stress. It's kind of like an anxiety and unsettling anyway happening, and then that's obviously being aggravated by traveling by air or by the journey itself. So I don't know if you've noticed that as well, but I think maybe some of our listeners might be
Absolutely, yeah.
experiencing that.
I think in general it's weakening and debilitating, and it's also related to Vata. There's like kind of a slum of energy because of traveling, and along with that is that anxiety. Yeah, because that ungroundedness creates the feeling of anxiety. That's why when we've spoken about routine, I felt that it was really important to mention don't stress more. Like, you already have a tendency to be hard on yourself, to stress, to be like anxious, and then you're thinking, oh my goodness, but I'm not in a routine because and my body is getting aggravated, then you're actually putting yourself into a vicious circle of like more
Yeah.
stress. And yeah.
Yeah. So rule number one, just be kind to yourself. Give yourself some time. You are on holiday after all. And then the other really important factor I think to talk about is because we touched on digestion. So Vata, time of life, travel, it can really play havoc on your digestion. And again, as I've got older, I've noticed that when I travel, my whole digestion just goes completely out. And that's down to a number of factors. It's obviously down to the traveling itself, as we've just talked about, but also when you're entering another country, even another continent, the food is really different. And the food is very different to what we've been used to eating at home. And you might be going into a hot climate and you may be eating more like raw foods, more of like the local foods, more heavy foods. You might be eating late at night, whereas maybe you don't in the UK. And drinking more alcohol and snacking, ice creams, all those sorts of things we enjoy. And that can also affect how we feel, and it affects how we look. So what would we say for tips on that? Because I think everybody experiences that when they go on holiday.
Yes, definitely. I would say first is still it's your holiday, it's your time to enjoy. If you enjoy, do that. And like don't think about anything. You enjoy. But if you feel that you need that groundedness, then you can take small warm meals. Like for example, you go out and just think about having warm nourishing meals, simple foods. Like even if you do everything else is the same, but you have like a bowl of soup. For example, in Thailand it's quite easy because they have those beautiful soups and they're so nourishing and they are absolutely perfect for their climate. Local food will be. So prioritize, instead of having crisps and pizzas and things like that, at least while you're settling the first few days, maybe have a ginger tea as you start your meal.
Good one.
Have something, select a stew rather than a pizza and a salad. Select those a few more nourishing things, and then obviously treat yourself as well, but then those steps will help you ground yourself, something a little bit more heavy, oily and grounding to counteract those mobile and airy qualities of vata that will help you ground yourself, and then it will improve your sleep, improve your digestion, and improve your overall happiness as well. Because sometimes we think that we need to get more joy and, like, really start to, okay, so I love ice cream, so I'll have an ice cream and a pizza and alcohol, and I will go and party wild. And it's fine when you're 20. When you approach at the stage of life, then it can get, actually really can get you out of balance, so really strongly. And then it will be count you're not going to be in a happy place with that.
Yeah.
You think that those things will give you pleasure and happiness, but they won't.
Yeah, because I think the thing is, when we're talking about digestion, and especially the travel days, the day you're traveling, obviously you're a little bit anxious, you're a little bit stressed, you're moving a lot because you're going from one place to another, and so your digestive fire is not very strong. And it's like, the more, and if you're going to pile a load of food in there and alcohol and ice cream and all these other things that you've probably been looking forward to, you do it all in the first night, then that's really going to hit you hard the next day. And it does affect your skin. I mean, it's going to make you puffy, it's going to make your skin dull, it's going to make you tired. And it also means that that food is going to be sitting in your stomach undigested. So your body's not going to be able to take the nutrients it needs, which, is not going to help for a healthy, glowing complexion.
Yeah, it will also won't be able to rejuvenate your body as you sleep, which it normally does. It heals and rejuvenates as you sleep, and while the food is there, all the body can do is digest the food.
Yeah.
So instead, it's doing the digestion instead of rejuvenating and healing your body. Just being aware about that. Obviously, there are days that we eat late and we don't follow the routine, but it's just being aware and knowing that. So maybe at least sometimes you can select a healthier option.
Yeah, and being aware of it, like, so you can then make an informed choice whether to order the pizza or not, depending on how you feel inside. You go, actually, I feel like this. Maybe I should actually go for the soup. I remember Maria saying.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But when it comes to actually looking after the skin, you've got a couple of great tips, haven't you, Maria?
Yeah. So my favorite one with traveling is Abhyanga. I mean, it's one of my number one go-tos. It's so beautiful. It's a practice of self-oiling, self-massage with oil, and it's so easy to do. It's just there are Ayurvedic tips which we suggest, and the ancient texts do suggest, like, take this particular oil and do particular this ritual and do as many strokes for as long. Forget about all that as you travel, just to ground yourself and give your skin this nourishment, and also pacify your thoughts, the anxiety, improve your sleep. Put oil on your skin, any oil you can find. Olive oil is fine, coconut oil is great during the summertime. Perfect. Any oil. I sometimes used vegetable oil for cooking. It just because I needed that nourishing, grounding properties of the oil. Because as we traveled for our exhibitions, for example, with Sam, and sometimes it can be very exhausting for the body. You stay up long hours. It's so ungrounded. Like, you keep moving all the time. There is a lot of work, a lot of people you meet. This airiness of vata really goes up, and to ground yourself and settle down, oily massage in the evening is just it's a savior. It's one of my favorite things to do. And if you can't do that, or if you don't like doing full body oil massage, then Ayurveda says at least oil your head, your ears, and your feet. And definitely the feet is my suggestion, because it it's so grounding, so nourishing. Like, when you put the oil on your feet, it's like the relaxation the feet deserve for carrying you around all day. It's a little act of gratitude to your feet. And the ears, they are a seat of vata. So if you can oil your ears, it will also help you pacify your mind, ground yourself. The head is a little bit more complicated. The girls, we have hair, so we don't like anything oily. What I normally do, I just I warm a little tiny bit, and I kind of put it not like underneath a little bit like my hair, and I do a little bit of this on the marma, or you can take a little bit of oil and kind of put it underneath there with your fingertips. If it's not making your hair look oily, you can definitely experiment. Maybe not on the day when you need your hair completely great for going out, but on the day when you can be washing your head in the morning, you can try that. Um, that's definitely my favorite, and it helped me during my pregnancies. It like really with this more than anything, even more than skin, this sense of happiness and being grounded, and really like it's like an extra protection that you put on yourself, which helps you not take things so personally. Sometimes people can be harsh, environment can be harsh, things can happen, but it has like an extra layer on you, extra layer of love.
Yeah,
That's what I
that's nice.
think. Yeah.
So
Uh,
what I find is quite just to talk about that just for a moment, because if people are going into a hot country and then we're suggesting that they'll oil themselves, there's a couple of like you have to be a little bit sensible with it. So what I've been doing recently is I will do that when I get back from the beach or a day by the pool or being out and I'm having my evening shower, maybe before I go out for dinner, which will be like after the sun is not very strong. I will usually do the full body oil massage and then I will have a shower. So that's how I like to do it. I'm not sure how you like to do it, Maria, but that's how I like to do it. And that way, I can dry myself. My skin is super smooth, and then I can put my nice clothes on, makeup, and go out for dinner. So that's how I like to do it if I'm doing a full body oil
mm.
massage. I don't think we're certainly not recommending that you do that first thing in the morning and then go out and sit by the pool because
I sometimes do that the first thing in the morning if I wake up very early. I tend to sometimes wake up like 6 in the morning, and then I would do my shower and oiling routine. But then I definitely not going to go out and sit by the pool, but my skin will be dry already, and I will put the sunscreen all over my body about 15 minutes before going into the sun. So, and then I would repeat the same in the evening, or just do the evening part as you suggested. And if I have a little bit more time, what I also love doing is putting the oil in my hair, because I have some bleached hair, and then, in the sun, they tend to be very dry.
it gets really dry quickly, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so if I have a little bit of time, then I put oil in my hair for like 10-15 minutes, and then I wash it off, and then they look stunning for the as you say, going out, and I feel grounded. My skin looks so good. It feels nourished, not dry after the sun. And also, if you dare to put the oil on your head. I know that some people they can't do that because of the oiliness and the grease, and they feel like it just doesn't sound pleasing. But for me, if I just think about it, yes, it's not doesn't sound like a good idea, but the experience itself is so grounding and nourishing,
Yeah.
because there are vata spots as well on the head, and when you cover them in oil, it pacifies the vata. As it pacifies vata, it gives you the satisfaction, the happiness, the groundedness, and like really stable thinking as well. Not racing thoughts, but you're like more like content and peaceful. Like again, like a baby in mother's womb. That's the simile that I think of when I think of oiling myself. It's really a really great ritual given to us by Ayurveda. I absolutely love it.
And then finally, how would we, so if we were just going to talk about one more thing, like with regard to the glowing skin and maybe around hydration, did you have anything that you wanted to say on that?
One thing which I love for flying, because when you stay on flight, the air is very dry. They've
Mm.
got air condition on, and there's like there's compression as well. So what I do, especially if it's a long haul flight, I would take my favorite flower essence, like a rose water or any flower water, and I would have it in a sprayer, and I would spray it on my face, and just because it helps to give that the moisture of the water, yeah, because skin does become dehydrated with a flight. So I hydrate it, and I put a few drops of oil on my face, and I can repeat the ritual a few times within during the flight. And yeah, it's amazing because the skin does get very, very dry with the flights, especially as we
Yeah.
age.
And I think that's really interesting you say that, because I'm sure many people listening will be agreeing that, especially on the way home from a holiday, if we haven't been following any of these tips and we've just been like having a nice time and not thinking about our skin, then somehow by the time you leave from your holiday and arrive at your destination, your skin's already started peeling. I don't know if you ever noticed that. So that's a great tip, like to just be able to do that on the flight and then put the oil on and just kind of nourish yourself. It sounds like a lovely thing to do.
Yeah, I definitely love it.
Okay.